this book, When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. It's actually a memoir. Paul was a neurosurgeon that looks like he has an amazing life ahead of him. He spent years training on helping people live longer. Then he later becomes the person that needs saving because he discovered that he has a stage 4 lung cancer that makes death inevitable. I'll be sharing a few things that stood out for me while reading this book, and one of which is love and sacrifice. Paul had a wife, Lucy. They never really had a perfect relationship. At one point, they even considered moving their separate ways. But when Paul was diagnosed of cancer, she stood with him completely. The love and the grace she showed throughout the illness, it's one of the most fascinating things for me while reading the book. It just reminded me of something that when you claim to love people, you're supposed to stay with them during the bad, the good, and the ugly, especially the bad times and the ugly times. So, another thing that stood out for me while reading this book, which I think is the whole essence of the book, is that our time is limited. We don't have as much time as we think, because at one point, it looks like Paul has an amazing career ahead of him, great dreams, amazing family, and everything was just going fine. And suddenly, he's on the sick bed with cancer, and his days are numbered. When Breath Becomes Air, it's a book that I highly recommend, and not a book for doctors or people that are dying. I mean, for me, it's a book for living that helps you to live intentionally and actually question some things about yourself. One thing that will help when reading this book is that you're going to have a lot of reflective moments where you ask yourself questions like, if I want to die tomorrow, have I lived intentionally? I mean, and it's a reminder that life is fragile, and at the same time, it's a very beautiful word. We just need to live purposefully. We need to focus our fixation on things that truly matters. I'm not here to scare you, but we're not going to be here forever. We're here today, and tomorrow we are not. I just thought of sharing.